Hey guys, welcome back to another episode here. And I want to jump right into something that I recently found. It was in regards to the recent announcement of Cardano blockchain infrastructure in Africa. And I wanted to go over an article that I saw with you guys. And this is just another example of kind of practicing what I preach and just doing your own research with these projects and kind of just seeing where it kind of goes. So just a quick background, the Cardano project, it's kind of the lead person or the head figure is a guy, Charles Hoskinson. I hope I said his name right. Clearly a brilliant mind, much smarter than I am. And he's leading this really ambitious project. I personally do love the Cardano project. I think that the ambition side of it is what I love, but it's still time will tell if it actually comes to fruition. But even these projects that you do like, it's really important to criticize and critique on different elements, even if the person who is talking about it might seem more knowledgeable than you still have the ability and the right to ask questions. So jumping right into it, what I want to do is I want to hop into this article here, and we can kind of go over that together. So in the headline, it says Cardano blockchain infrastructure selected in a new drive to bring sustainable internet connectivity to Zanzibar and Tanzania. So Zanzibar and Tanzania in Africa. Very noble. Why they select that place? That's a question that I would ask pretty immediately. But looking into the paragraph below, in its foray into Africa, Input Output, a research and development product engineering company, says it will partner with World Mobile Group in a new initiative aimed at bringing sustainable internet connectivity to its users in Zanzibar and Tanzania. According to the partnership agreement, the Cardano blockchain infrastructure will be used to provide affordable network nodes to local business owners. So the first thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to say, okay, well, what is World Mobile Group? Who is that group made of? And, what are the demographics of that group? Where are they from? So looking into the little bit that I saw about World Mobile Group, it doesn't seem like they're actually even from Africa. They're more of a European kind of country. And, the historical context between Europe and Africa, it's already extremely complex, not even complex, but it's extremely problematic in a lot of ways. Right. So what I did is I just kind of looked into some of the history about the country and the continent of Africa. So the country of Tanzania and the continent of Africa. And in my experience, one of the things that I've always noticed is that, there is a historical context we know with slavery and what that means to the individuals of that country to have their country be colonized. So there was a time when Tanzania, the country, it was as many as 90% of the population was enslaved. And so it's important to understand what does that mean for the mindset and the knowledge of self and kind of the people around and who actually enslaved those people. And the last thing that for me at least, is that I look very critically at if the people who are trying to help you are also your historical oppressors. That's something that needs to be mindful. Like, why would they want to help you? What's in it for them? Those are questions that I think that really need to be asked from someone from the outside looking in. Now, as far as the project is concerned, some of the questions that I had in regards to the historical context as well is, how long has Tanzania been, outside of colonization? And it turns out that they just recently, in my opinion, left colonization in the 1960s. So up until the 1960s, they were still under, British rule, meaning that they weren't even an actual country. And over that time, they've kind of had their own growing pains and hardships. And there's been countries in the past who have invested in Tanzania, and once they extract what they want, they end up leaving. And so this is what I kind of want to make sure that this doesn't happen again. And so I was doing more research on what this World Mobile Group is trying to do and what their partnership entails. So one of the things it says here is that the partnership agreement is that the Cardano blockchain infrastructure will be used to provide affordable network nodes to local business owners. The first question that I had is that how many of these local network nodes will be given to business owners, and what is the capacity of the network nodes that will be operated by Africans, right? That's a big question, because one of the things that I've noticed with the Cardano network in itself is that there's a big push for Africa. However, I want to know how many of those people who are going to be operating the nodes or currently operating the nodes are actually Africans. How many of them are African American? How many of them are just identify as Black in general, right? Because if you have people who are not even connected to the continent of Africa or not connected to these countries in Africa, but are operating all of the nodes or most of the nodes, they're going to be the ones who are extracting all the value, right? This is a common issue that we've seen in Africa, is that people come in only to extract the value, but don't actually put in the resources. So World Mobile Group, I want to know exactly what their plan is and what are the metrics of how much of these nodes will be operated by Africans. And what are the goals of those metrics, right? Is it 50%? Is it 75%? Is it 95% of all the nodes that are going to be operating in Africa, or that they want to operate for this specific purpose, going to be run by local Africans? Or how's that all going to work? Those are questions that I kind of want to know for the long term. Another thing that I had is that it seems like they're going to be pushing for a lot of things such as healthcare and such as digital identity. And when I was reading over this in the World Mobile Group kind of input-output public relations statement, I had a bunch of questions. It seemed like when I was reading this, they're coming from this at a space of a Western mindset, meaning that they're seeing Tanzania as more of a in Africa as one place versus a number of different countries that are on a continent. And why do I say that? Well, when I'm reading through this, they're saying things like, hey, we want to create a digital identity for everyone. But it doesn't take into, they're not addressing the fact that a lot of people in Africa, they don't have the same type of, birth dates or, monitoring where they were born necessarily. All these different things that in the West people do, there's no way to actually track that. So how do they plan on getting accurate data and accurate data sets if the actual beginnings or the birth dates or the names and all those different things may not be accurate? So what is the plan to actually make sure that the data is accurate, and how do you plan on getting that data? That's the first question. The second thing is I wanted to find out is that how are they going to deal with the literacy rates in the areas? So how would you address people who cannot actually read, or they don't understand these things, and how are you going to onboard those people? Because here's the issue, is that if you don't address these issues up front, you're going to deal with a number of equity issues, and that's something that I think that is going to be happening unless they can answer these questions in the long term. So if you have people who are already at the bottom and you're talking about all these nodes that are going to be operating, and this is a way for them to actually stake for the node and this and that, if there's no equity in the process and you're saying, oh, we're helping them, but all the value is being extracted in the people who are already wealthy, that's an equity issue. And I think that needs to be addressed. So these are questions that I want answered is, what is the equity component? How much of the nodes are going to be operated by the people? What are the metrics that are considered a success for a node operation, and how many of the local people will be operating this? Is it going to be 95% of all the different operations that are based in Africa or based in Tanzania are going to be operated by the locals? Is that kind of what we're looking at? What are the goals that are going to be projected here? That's something that I kind of want to know. And then also one more thing is that I wanted to talk about what is the long-term kind of plan for this project, as far as like 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10 year. And then that way, as a community, we can hold this kind of project accountable. One of the things that I've seen with Cardano in the past is that there were different metrics that had been set in the past, and those metrics were not met the way that they were kind of told to the community. And so I commend, Charles and his team for actually putting out the goals up front. Even though they weren't met, that's okay, because at least we knew what to expect and we can kind of hold them accountable to that. So in that same likeness, it would be nice to have some type of metrics around what these goals are and how much of the local economy and the local community are going to be getting from this. Because ultimately what I don't want to see is that this group, World Mobile, and also, Cardano, these larger entities are coming in and they're just extracting that value. Because right now, what I'm seeing from the teams is that there's not that many people who are actually leading these projects that are locally based in these countries that are going to be where the value is going to be extracted from. So ultimately, that's my thing, is I want to just ask questions around the equity aspects, and also what is the game plan with making sure that the people are not left behind who might not, who might be illiterate, or who might not have the different data sets that they might want to use in order to identify people. So these are just some points that I think, and just a little bit of research that I did, and I want people to be mindful about this project. And also, this is an equity component that I wanted to bring up, with making sure that the people who are actually involved in leading the project or leading in some capacity are actually local and not necessarily people from the outside just trying to come in and extract value. That's all I have for today's episode. I hope it was valuable. I hope that you liked what you saw. Please leave a comment below. Let me know if I'm right. Let me know if I'm wrong. I love to have the conversation. That's what this is all about. And I hope to see you guys again here real soon.